Last night, I went and saw Venom: The Last Dance, the final Venom movie in the kind of Sony Marvel universe. And my God, there is a lot that I need to talk about. Before we get started, we're on the road to 5,000 subs. So if you guys could leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, I would love to have you. Now let's talk about this movie.
I'm Spider-Man.
Look, there's a lot I'm going to say about this movie, both positive and negative, so leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I read every single one. I most likely will respond. I want to know what you guys thought about this film. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Venom is one of my favorite Marvel characters, period. Spider-Man's my favorite hero. Venom is my favorite villain / anti-hero. I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the merch and stuff that I have behind me. So all those years back when the first Venom movie came out, I was obviously super excited because I thought, well, it would connect to Spider-Man later on. But as we know and as history goes, Spider-Man never popped up and has still not popped up in the Sony Marvel universe, which now with this movie, it kind of makes it seem like there's multiple Sony Spider-Man universes, because spoiler alert, this movie is definitely not a part of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, and it's definitely not part of the MCU. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to talk about the plot, or the attempt at a plot for this film. Here's the entire picture. Venom is on the run. Venom wants to go to New York for some reason. Out in the void, which is like the space outside of the universe, is this guy named Knull, and he is the god of the symbiotes. If you're a fan of Marvel Comics, you know that Knull is a big deal and is kind of the Thanos level villain for Venom. So this is super exciting, but also super ballsy to introduce Knull into the third and marketing it as the final Venom movie. But I digress. The movie opens up with one of the only big scenes with Knull, where he sends these xenophages, or these bug-like creatures, to Earth to hunt Venom because he has this thing on him that can kind of let Knull out of the prison that he's in. It's basically the MacGuffin of the movie, the item that is kind of hinging the entire plot. Venom has this because Eddie died at one point and Venom brought him back to life and therefore created this key thing that can let Venom out of this void. He created the symbiotes, but the symbiotes actually revolted against him and imprisoned him. Now we get the most of Knull in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then you see him like once or twice in the rest of the movie. So here's your first issue. Knull is never ever face to face with Venom, not even close, not even in the same planet or solar system or galaxy. Just these little bug creatures that Knull is sending after him. These xenophages find Venom and chase him through Las Vegas, as well as the FBI and the government contracted mercenaries who are hunting down Venom for the things that he did in the previous films. So Venom and Eddie are pretty much on the run the entire film, and they come across this family living in a bus. This family is obsessed with aliens, and they're going to Area 51, and who is the father? None other than Rhys Ifans. Now, seeing Rhys Ifans in a Sony Marvel movie, in particular one that is basically related to Spider-Man, when you had Rhys Ifans playing the Lizard in No Way Home and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movie, is a little confusing. I assume, like myself, a lot of other people are going to see Rhys Ifans in the trailer and in this movie and be like, is this Kurt Connors before the events of TASM, or is this a alternate version of Kurt Connors? No, it's just some guy named Martin. He's a hippie and he's got a family, and they want to see aliens at Area 51. Now, big spoilers for the end of the movie. They go to Area 51 with this family. They find out aliens are real. The xenophages fight Venom and the other symbiotes that the military organization is holding, and Venom ends up sacrificing himself to protect Eddie. So yeah, this is the last dance because Venom technically does die in this movie. That's the main plot of the movie, but there's also like 5 to 6 different subplots of the movie with these side characters that we get maybe 5 minutes or so throughout the entire film, so it doesn't really have any weight to it and the stakes don't really feel too high. But here I'm going to switch course and talk about why this movie is actually kind of fun and charming. These Venom movies with Tom Hardy have always had this super charming quality about them, whether it's the comedy, the buddy relationship between Venom and Eddie, or the side characters. The plot, theme, and story has never been at the forefront of these films, and this is quite apparent in this third and final installment. About halfway through the movie, I was like, this is not working for me at all. We also have Mulligan from the previous film, who we thought was going to be Toxin, the offspring of Carnage, but they just say in the movie that that symbiote left him, and then they gave him another symbiote, which is, I guess, Lasher. So there's that subplot. There's the subplot about the scientist, the military guy, Eddie, Venom. Miss Chen is in there for one scene. She somehow ends up in Las Vegas with Eddie at the same time, and they have this dance number. That's pretty much it. There's so many random things in this movie where the plot technically doesn't work for me, but I had a great time watching it. So many hilarious jokes, especially with the hippie Martin character that Risa Fons plays. So funny, in fact, that I didn't really care that he wasn't Kurt Connors, but also just Venom turning into the different animals, the banter with them back and forth. It is all just good fun. And it puts me in a weird position because on one hand, I'm like, I didn't like this movie at all. The plot really sucked. It doesn't really need to be made. It feels like nothing really even happened. But on the other hand, I was like, this was so much fun. Like, I would love to just throw this on in the background at home sometime. So I find myself somewhere in the middle, but not like in the typical sense where it's like there's some good things about the plot or there's some bad things about the humor and the adventure, but more so like they kind of balance each other out. And it's so weird because, and I don't mean this in a bad way, this feels like a fan film high budget come to life. The CGI was incredible. I was actually really impressed with that, as well as some of the acting. But for some reason, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it just feels like this movie didn't need to be made. And it does feel like just an ad for Knull and the future of the Sony Spider-Man universe without a Spider-Man. Look, if you're a film buff, I can see you absolutely hating this movie, and I completely understand, but I went for a good time and I got a good time. It just feels inconsequential. Like, why did they have to do it this way? Are they just trying to set things up down the line with Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Venom and things like that? Or were they just going for a cash grab? Either way, I don't know. The buzz about this movie is really low. It feels like it just came out and there wasn't a lot of hype about it. My theater was kind of empty, to be honest, and that's on a preview Thursday opening night. However, I do have to say I saw Joker 2 a couple weeks ago, and that movie left a way more sour taste in my mouth than this. Now that this Venom trilogy has kind of ended, I'm gonna probably look back on these 3 films as just a good time. Kind of an experiment. I mean, they were able to make 3 Venom movies without Spider-Man. He never gets the Venom spider symbol on his chest even. But they do still have this quality to them that kind of makes it worthwhile. Madison, my wife, loves these movies just because they're such a good time, and she loves the relationship between Eddie and Venom. Unlike me, she hopes this is the same exact version of Venom that we get in the MCU, where I want more of a serious, kind of gritty Venom. And as far as the future of this character and this universe goes, there are 2 post-credit scenes. The first one just shows Knull's face, which is crazy because this is your main antagonist of the movie, and you don't even see his face in the movie, you see it in the post-credit scene. And then there's this second post-credit scene after the 10 to 15 minute long credits that I was really excited for because, well, I hoped it was good, and it just is weird. It's this guy running through the desert after a big fight or something, and we see one of the symbiote glasses shattered. It just felt so weird because you have this guy running out of a cave who he's a character who popped up at the very beginning of this movie and in No Way Home. He's the bartender, and he just kind of runs across this landscape. That's it. Super random, super weird. I don't know what they were trying to do with it. Maybe I have to do some more research. But most importantly, I've got to know what you guys think about this movie. Leave your comments down below. Again, I read every single one. I most likely will respond. Leave a like on the video, and I will see you all very, very soon.